Today, we're going to deconstruct a piece of gossip. You know, the kind that's sharp and cold, and even though it comes from a fictional world, it probably sounds a little too familiar. It's this dangerous idea that some people just don't belong in certain places. So, let's get into it.
And there it is. That's the myth. It's dropped by a student named Taryn, and it's so simple. So final. It suggests that your right to be somewhere is something you're born with, or you're not. It's the kind of thinking that builds walls, you know?
But that's the real question, isn't it? If you strip away all the human baggage, all the prejudice, and just look at the physical world, the cold, the ice, the wind, what are the actual rules? Turns out, the answer has absolutely nothing to do with who you are. Which brings us to this foundational idea from the Northern Mountains. It's a philosophy that just completely flips the script on survival. It's not a moral test, it's not about your heritage, it's just a set of physical laws.
I mean, this line from their civic doctrine just nails it. The cold is impartial. It doesn't know your name, it doesn't care about your background, it only responds to real physical things. Are you exposed? Are you wet? Are you prepared? That's it. So in their world, survival is a civic practice. Just think about that for a second. It's a skill you learn, a responsibility you share as a community, like reading or public safety. It's not some magic trait you inherit. It's something you're taught and something you do.
And that's really the bottom line here. Warmth is something you build. You build it with layers of clothing, with knowledge, with the right food. Pride will get you nowhere. The mountain only rewards the person who is smart enough to pack an extra pair of dry socks.
Okay, so if that's the philosophy, what does it actually look like in practice? Well, if survival is a practice, you need a toolkit. And for them, it all comes down to 3 basic pillars for every single person: staying dry, fed, and covered.
And look how methodical this is. This isn't folklore, it's straight-up technology. You've got a base layer to wick sweat away from your skin, an insulating mid-layer for warmth, a shell to cut the wind and rain, and then armor for your hands and feet. Anyone can learn this. It's a formula.
And the list goes on. I mean, look how specific this gear is. Insulated boots with traction, spare, and I cannot stress this enough, dry socks, goggles for the glare, balm for the wind. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they are the absolute baseline. Preparation is the whole game.
Now that first pillar, staying dry, it's so important they call it a law. Wet clothes aren't just uncomfortable, they're a genuine emergency. You mix wet fabric with whipping wind, and you've got a recipe for catastrophic heat loss. Staying dry is just non-negotiable.
All right, pillar number 2, staying fed. Your body is a furnace, and you have to keep it stoked with the right fuel. We're not just talking about calories here. We're talking about food that's been engineered for the cold. Hot broth for warmth and hydration, fatty foods for slow burn energy. This isn't just a meal, it's another piece of survival equipment. And what's really cool is how these rules become part of the culture. A little saying like, no bare ears at dusk, isn't some old-fashioned nagging. It's a public safety announcement baked into everyday conversation. It's about collective care, not control.
But everything we've talked about so far, the layers, the gear, the food, that's all on the individual, and that's only half the picture. The whole philosophy really rests on this last critical pillar: together. This is where the society itself becomes the most powerful survival tool of all.
And the principle is so simple and so powerful. A community that actively works to keep everyone safe means that one person's bad luck or small mistake doesn't have to turn into a tragedy. It's a safety net woven out of people.
And they don't just talk about it. They build it right into their cities. You've got public warming lounges for anyone who gets caught in the cold, steam corridors that act as windbreaks on common routes. These aren't luxuries. Survival is treated like a public utility, just like running water or electricity.
And this number right here might be the most powerful thing we've seen yet. 0. That's the number of people who are ever shamed for needing help. Asking to use a warming lounge isn't seen as weakness, it's seen as being smart. It totally removes any ego or shame from the act of staying alive.
Okay, so let's tie this all back to where we started. Back to that myth and the so-called science that people sometimes twist to support these kinds of ideas, particularly around skin color and cold climates. When you look at the actual science, the real challenges for people with more melanin in this kind of place have to do with light, not temperature. You've got less sun in the winter, which can affect vitamin D, and you have intense UV rays reflecting off the snow. But look at the northern response. It's all technology and behavior.
Fortified foods, taking scheduled sky breaks, wearing goggles and face oil. These are just problems with practical solutions.
So you see, when you boil it all down, the things that actually put you in danger up there aren't in your DNA. It's neglect, it's moisture, it's exposure. These are all conditions and choices, not things you're born with.
And this brings us right back to Instructor Maverine's powerful lesson. It's such a perfect summary, right? The environment is just a system. It responds to what you do, not who you are. All that matters is what you remember to do and what you forgot.
And here's the entire philosophy just stated so beautifully. When someone is new and struggling, the answer isn't to push them away, it's to educate them. We teach them in. It's an active, welcoming process of sharing knowledge so that everyone can belong safely.
Which finally brings us back to that one big question. The question that completely takes apart that ugly myth we started with. If it's not about where you're from or what you look like, then who do the mountains truly belong to?
And the answer is as clear and crisp as the mountain air. Belonging isn't a birthright you're handed, it's something you earn. You earn it through learning, through respect, through practice. The mountains belong to anyone and everyone who is willing to learn them.
And as for that original idea, that mountains aren't for everyone, well, it's just what it is. An empty claim, totally powerless against the hard facts of preparation and community. It's just gossip, carried away on a weak wind.